I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful. It's Friday, going into a weekend. Interesting thing happened to me this week. As you probably are aware, I am into board games. I have been for a very, very long time, but essentially since the 90s. But I got my start in gaming in the 80s playing Dungeons and Dragons. So that's when I got introduced to the idea of fantasy worlds and fantasy creations and being a part of a story or whatever. And my friends and I played D&D for a long time in the 80s, early 90s, until Magic came out. And then when Magic came out, that really started my transition to more card gaming. But I was still playing a lot of D&D, just in general. Second edition. Well, in the Marines, I played even more D&D. I played a lot, actually. Third edition came out, and we were very excited for that. And I played a whole lot of third edition Dungeons and Dragons. And came back from the Marines, started a family, still played a little bit of here and there, and then stopped. My kids came along, and pretty much, D&D groups, we just couldn't keep up, schedules and all that. And I haven't role-played now in like 15 years. And this early this year, before the lockdown, I was kind of purging my game collection. And one of the things that I had was 2 tubs of role-playing books. And I mean like tubs, giant tubs, where I had everything 3rd edition. I had Earth Dawn, an old FASA RPG that I absolutely loved. I had all of that, all of L5R, Conspiracy X, a whole bunch of random little RPGs. I mean, I had everything. Minis. I gave it all away. I gave it to a coworker. So imagine my surprise on Tuesday. My daughters came over for dinner. We've been doing a weekly dinner now that they stay every other weekend. And they came over and we were talking, and I told them I was excited to get a new video game. I got Baldur's Gate for the Switch. And they both looked at me and said, "I've been wanting to learn how to play D&D." And I was like, well, this just come up, and they're like, well, I've heard about it, and I want to try it. Okay. I said, if you could have told me this a couple months ago, we could have played right now. We could have made characters at least. And so it's been a very, very long time since I've played D&D, but I'm excited to share that with my kids. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I actually went and purchased the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons starter set. I think it was less than $13 on Amazon, like 12 something. Comes with some dice. Comes with a pretty big adventure. This is actually a pretty large adventure that seems pretty cool. And pre-generated characters and a basic set of rules. And I'm really excited about this. I'm a little bit more excited than I expected to be, because when we stopped playing, my group and I don't remember what the last game was we played, but I remember it was at my friend's house. My daughter might have just been born, or maybe it was even before that. We played at his place. I was the GM. And it just kind of stopped, and I don't know why. That was probably in like 2003 or 2004, maybe even 2005, and then board games took over my life, and I stopped playing role-playing games. I stopped collecting books, even though I had this massive catalog of games that I loved and played. Tunnels and Trolls. I had so much Tunnels and Trolls stuff. Loved Tunnels and Trolls. I let it all go. I let it all go because I hadn't used it in 15 years. But now that my kids are interested and are old enough to understand it, I'm really excited to share this with them. When I was a kid in the 80s, this was like, I don't know if you remember the 80s much, or if you weren't alive during the 80s, there was this satanic panic that happened during the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Satanic panic spread through churches all over the U.S. You know, it was this stuff like, you know, they're kidnapping blonde-haired, blue-eyed children and using them for satanic rituals. Dungeons and Dragons is a satanic game that teaches children to defy their parents and God. So I had one friend whose parents were not super religious, and he was the one who introduced me to this world, this world right here in this box. I was not allowed to play it. My parents forbid me, you know, because it was Satan. Satan was in this box. And but as I grew into my teens, I you know, I obviously wasn't going to listen to them, but I mean, we were playing probably when I was like 10 or 11, which is my youngest age now. So I fell in love with this as a kid, and it's really put me on a path to learn all sorts of, you know, I had so many wonderful stories and so many wonderful adventures. I've read so many of the old Dragonlance books. I love them all. And I'm really, really, really excited to share this with them. Way more excited than I thought I would be. I thought it'd be like, yeah, sure, we'll try it. But I'm actually really hopeful that they enjoy it and that it's something that we can do together when they come visit. Because we're always looking for things. Like, my oldest is an artist and my youngest is a soccer player. And so when it's the three of us together, it's very difficult for us to find something to do that all three of us can enjoy. So maybe this is it. Maybe we can start something. Maybe we can start our own thing and see where it takes us. So that's my plan for the weekend. I've read through most of the rulebook already. I'm going to start reading through the adventure before they get here. And then maybe tonight we'll try, or I'll at least start giving them the introduction to how it's going to work. And then we're going to try and play it. And, you know, the one thing I did not get rid of is my old dice box. This I got, I had a master sergeant in the Marine Corps who was a woodworker, and I asked him to make me a box. And I didn't really give him, you know, I was like, make it about this big and put some felt in the bottom. And he did. It's got an MDF bottom and nice little felt pads, and there's felt in the bottom. And this is my little dice box for rolling in. And I still kept it. I kept all these dice. And I'm really excited to share this with them because it's something that was a huge part of my life for a very, very, very long time. We'll see. You know, I posted a thing on Twitter, like, my kids asked to play D&D, what should I start with? And all of the responses were, not D&D, do something else. Play this game, play this game, play this game. And that was not the response I wanted, because D&D is where I started, and I think it's a good place to start. It's that generic fantasy that has been pervasive throughout generations that I want to start them with. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know next week. That's all I have for you right now. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. Do you play role-playing games, and what was your introduction to role-playing games? Let me know that in the comments below. Yeah, I'll see you Monday. Today's word you should know to sound smart is bona fide. It is an adjective meaning legitimate, the real thing, the genuine article. He may have come across as particularly intelligent, but Brian's Phi Beta Kappa key is in fact bona fide. Bona fide. B-O-N-A-F-I-D-E.